Good evening, and welcome to your AI Daily Press evening podcast for December 28th, 2025. I'm your host, Walter. Firstly, we took a closer look at the complex relationship between Russian billionaires and President Vladimir Putin. Despite the risks, many have managed to thrive under his rule, while others have paid a heavy price for their descent. As the war in Ukraine continues, it remains to be seen how this delicate balance will play out and what implications it may have for Russia's future. In other news, Indian markets are poised for significant growth in the coming year, driven by domestic reforms and global economic trends. The country's comprehensive economic and trade agreement with the UK, combined with robust macroeconomic fundamentals, is expected to drive bilateral trade and boost Indian exports. Lastly, we brought you live updates on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, where President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to meet with former U.S. President Donald Trump for peace talks. The meeting aims to discuss an updated version of a U.S.-brokered plan to end the nearly four-year war between Ukraine and Russia, with key points of discussion including the management of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and control of Ukraine's eastern Donbas region. We'll continue to bring you updates and analysis on these stories as they unfold. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
Walter, and then shall and know it's right now. Firstly, in the world of mixed martial arts, the UFC is emphasizing the importance of self-promotion for its fighters, encouraging them to build their personal brands and increase their social media presence. This shift has raised questions about the role of politics in sports, as fighters become more outspoken and visible, using their platforms to speak out on issues such as social justice and environmental protection. Secondly, we're seeing a new era of fighter promotion, where athletes are expected to be as skilled in marketing themselves as they are in the octagon. This has led to a trend of fighters using their platforms to raise awareness and drive change, but also raises challenges for those who must balance their personal beliefs with commercial demands. Lastly, we're following a developing story from Syria, where protests by members of the Alawite minority have turned violent, resulting in deaths and clashes between protesters and security forces. The situation is complex and volatile, with the Alawite community facing persecution and violence from Islamist groups. We urge all parties involved to prioritize restraint and dialogue, working towards a future where all Syrians can live in peace and security. These stories highlight the complexities of sports, politics, and social activism, and we'll continue to follow them and bring you updates as more information becomes available. Now, for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Firstly, we looked at the recent performance of India's largest companies, which experienced a slight decline in value. This serves as a reminder that even substantial entities can be susceptible to market fluctuations. However, we also highlighted the impressive performance of certain small and medium-sized enterprises, such as Anandita Medicare, Tankup Engineers, and Fabtech Technologies Cleanrooms, which delivered remarkable returns. Secondly, we delved into the fascinating world of taxation and wealth management, exploring how billionaires manage to pay lower tax rates than middle-class workers. We discussed strategies such as the buy, borrow, die method, real estate depreciation, and billionaire-run foundations, all of which are entirely legal and a result of how the U.S. tax code is designed. Lastly, we touched on the importance of maintaining a balanced perspective when navigating market complexities. As I always say, a correction is not a contraction, and it's crucial to distinguish between the two. Investors should remain informed, stay calm, and prioritize thorough analysis when making investment decisions. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Firstly, we explored the fascinating world of the International Space Station, thanks to a new high-definition video released by NASA. We took a tour of the orbiting laboratory, highlighting its incredible complexity and the important research being conducted on board. As the ISS nears the end of its operational life, we reflected on its legacy of scientific discovery and international cooperation. Next, we journeyed through the constellation of Orion, one of the most recognizable and awe-inspiring patterns in the night sky. We featured stunning images from our community of astrophotographers, showcasing the beauty of the Orion Nebula, the Horsehead Nebula, and other notable celestial objects within the constellation. Lastly, we delved into the latest developments in space exploration, including the remarkable achievements of NASA's orbiting observatories and the ongoing quest to push the boundaries of human knowledge. We also touched on the importance of preserving our night skies for future generations and the role that international cooperation plays in advancing our understanding of the universe. These stories remind us of the infinite wonders that await us in the cosmos and the importance of continuing to explore, discover, and push the boundaries of human knowledge. Now for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. In our first story, the Detroit Lions are wrapping up another disappointing season, leaving their loyal fan base to ponder what could have been. Despite the emergence of talented young players like Aiden Hutchinson and Jamison Williams, the team's faithful are divided into optimists, realists, and pessimists, each with their own take on the team's fortunes. In college athletics, James Enagi, the 31st pick in the NBA draft, has made a surprising decision to join Baylor for the spring semester, highlighting the complexities of eligibility and professional aspirations. Meanwhile, London Jemison is making waves with his impressive performance on the court for 14th-ranked Alabama. The world of soccer sees Shavar Thomas appointed as the first coach of CT United FC, the MLS Next Pro franchise set to begin operations next summer. And in college football, the playoff has sparked debate over access and equity, with some questioning the inclusion of group of 5 or 6 conference champions in an expanded format. On the ice, UConn women's hockey goalie Tia Chan is having a standout season, boasting impressive statistics that place her among the top performers in NCAA Division I. Her story is intertwined with her experience playing for China in the Winter Olympics as a Canadian-Chinese dual citizen. Finally, the off-season maneuvers of major baseball teams like the Mets, Yankees, and Red Sox are under scrutiny, with fans and pundits alike waiting to see if these clubs will indeed bolster their rosters effectively. The question on everyone's mind is whether spending will translate into tangible improvements, or if it will be another season of unmet expectations. Tune in tomorrow for more in-depth analysis and updates from the world of sports. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Currell.
Thank you, Howard. In this summary, we'll be covering 3 recent stories that have captured our attention. Firstly, we looked at the impact of Storm Johannes on the Nordic countries, where strong winds and heavy snowfall caused power outages, travel disruptions, and unfortunately, loss of life. Despite the challenges, the community spirit and resilience of the people in Sweden, Norway, and Finland were truly inspiring. In another story, we explored how a severe winter storm was affecting daily life in Scandinavia, with widespread disruptions to roads, flights, and access to basic amenities. We highlighted the efforts of emergency services, relief teams, and volunteers who braved extreme conditions to deliver aid to stranded communities. Lastly, our coverage touched on the long-term environmental impact of the storm and the importance of prioritizing sustainability. We mentioned how authors like Susie Dent are using their platforms to raise awareness about environmental conservation and the need for collective action to protect our planet. These stories remind us of the importance of community, resilience, and compassion in the face of adversity. As we move forward, let's work together towards creating a more sustainable future for all. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. First up, we've got a rundown of the latest celebrity confessions. From royal dramas to Hollywood mishaps, it's clear that even the most famous faces among us have their fair share of embarrassing moments and challenges. We explored how these personal anecdotes humanize our favorite celebrities and create a sense of community with their fans. Next, we dived into the latest royal drama surrounding Harry and Meghan's publicist switch-up. Meredith Maines, their head of PR, is stepping down after nearly a year on the job. With the couple facing intense scrutiny over their decision to step back from royal duties and their Netflix deals, Maines has had her work cut out for her. We're left wondering what's next for the Sussexes as they navigate these tricky waters. Last but not least, we took a trip down memory lane with the one and only Brigitte Bardot. The iconic French actress has lived a life full of passion, excitement, and drama, with 4 marriages under her belt. From Roger Vadim to Bernard Dormal, we explored her romantic adventures and what makes her so fascinating. Thanks for joining me on the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Now for the latest in nature and environment, here is David Attenacher.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, we looked at the alarming decline of marine ecosystems due to climate change, focusing on the impact of warming waters on marine life in the Gulf of Maine. This story underscores the urgent need for climate action to protect our planet's precious biodiversity. Secondly, we examined the rise and fall of Insect, a pioneering insect farming company that aimed to revolutionize sustainable food systems. Despite its promising start, the company struggled with scalability and market competition, ultimately leading to its demise. This story serves as a cautionary tale for innovators and investors in the sustainable food sector. Lastly, we explored the controversy surrounding the proposed construction of a ballroom at Donald Trump's resort in Doonbeg Island. The project has raised concerns about its potential impact on local biodiversity, particularly the protected Vertigo angustia snail. This story highlights the delicate balance between economic development and environmental conservation, emphasizing the need for sustainable planning and responsible decision-making. These stories remind us that the path to a more sustainable future is complex and multifaceted, requiring careful consideration of the interconnectedness of human activity, environmental stewardship, and economic development. And that completes our evening podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until tomorrow morning, I'm David Attenacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.